Okay. Okay, so welcome everyone. Thank you for joining me for tonight's workshop. Tonight's workshop is going to be about overcoming anxiety and depression. And just going to mute everyone. So I'll be asking questions throughout the presentation and inviting you to talk to me in the chat box. Please use the chat box to communicate with me and answer my questions so I don't feel lonely. So the agenda for tonight, we're going to talk about what is depression. We're going to look a little bit at depression and possible causes. Talk about what is anxiety and what causes anxiety. We're going to look at how depression and anxiety are often related. We're going to look at techniques to cope with and overcome anxiety and depression. And then we'll have a guided meditation or hypnosis session. At the end, I'll invite you to ask any questions or give me any comments. So, what is depression? So we all experience depressed feelings from time to time. Feeling depressed doesn't necessarily mean you are ill. There would be something wrong with you if you never felt depressed. For example, if you were a prisoner of war and you didn't feel depressed, you have some serious mental issues. So depressed feelings can be a signal that you need to make changes and adjustments in your life. Depression is a low mood that lasts for a long time and affects your everyday life. In its mildest form, depression can mean just being in low spirits. It doesn't stop you leading your normal life, but makes everything harder to do and seem less worthwhile. At its most severe, depression can be life-threatening and people can feel suicidal. So that info comes from mind.org. So the symptoms of depression. You might lose your confidence and your self-esteem. You might find a lack of meaning, no pleasure in things you normally enjoy. You might experience derealization and feel like you're detached from your surroundings. You might get brain fog, difficulty thinking clearly, difficulty making decisions. You might have a lack of energy, always feeling drained, loss of libido, aches and pains. You might use substances. You might start smoking more, drinking more, eating more. Sometimes people will eat less when they're feeling depressed. So you might lose your appetite. You can experience psychosis, auditory and visual hallucinations. And the theory for this is because when you're depressed, you spend a lot of time, you don't get a good quality of sleep. So you may overdream, and when you're waking, you may experience, if you don't dream, you'll go mad. So your mind finds ways to make you dream. So if you don't sleep or you're not experiencing good quality of sleep, you may start dreaming when you're awake and experience hallucinations. And insomnia, as I said, you may struggle to sleep or overdream. So when a disorder or a problem occurs with other problems, in the medical field, they call it a comorbidity. And depression is often comorbid with BPD, borderline personality disorder, complex PTSD, and bipolar. If you're feeling suicidal, you should speak to your doctor. You're taking antidepressants, you shouldn't stop taking any medication without consulting your doctor first. Just stopping antidepressants can cause severe side effects. So if you're going to do anything like that, you should speak to your doctor and consult with your doctor to get a plan to help you stop taking medication. So what causes depression? Just notice that you can't see my screen. So what causes depression? So life events, giving birth can cause depression, postnatal depression, divorce, bereavement, trauma, complex trauma, childhood trauma, ongoing and repeated abuse, health problems. So if you've got a chronic or life-threatening illness, if you've got an illness that affects your hormones, if your hormone levels are low or out of sync, you will experience depression. Men with low testosterone often experience depression. And diet can also cause depression. So it can influence your blood sugar and hormones, it can influence the chemicals that you have in your brain. If you feel unfulfilled, if you have a meaningless job or no job, if you're isolated and lonely, all these things can lead to you feeling like your life's pointless, like there's no point in carrying on. Genetics. Some people think that depression is a genetic thing, that is hereditary. No genes have been identified with depression, but until the age of 5 is known as the imprint period. So if you are growing up around someone who experiences a lot of depression, a lot of anxiety, you're going to pick up on that, and it's going to influence your outlook on life. And it's said that until the age of 5, our brains are forming, we're building new neural pathways in the brain. So yeah, as I say, this is known as the imprint period. Some people say it stops at the age of 7, others say 13. Some people say that it carries on until the age of 21. Your neuroplasticity is certainly at its highest until the age of 21. After that point, it starts to drop off and it becomes harder to learn new things. So depression and anxiety. So 25% of the UK population suffers with anxiety or depression or both. Mixed anxiety and depression is the most common form of mental illness, and around 9% of people meet the diagnosis for the criteria for diagnosis with anxiety and depression. So who experiences both anxiety and depression? Let me know in the chat box. Yep. There are a few of you. Okay, so anxiety. Yep. Anxiety is a natural, response to danger. Yep. Many of you suffer with anxiety and depression. So when you're feeling anxious, you're going to experience various symptoms. Sweating helps your body prepare for the coming activity. You're going to be moving into the fight or flight mode. So you're going to be getting prepared for action. You're going to be sweating. You're going to experience an increased heart rate, which gets the blood flowing around your body. It's the blood flowing to your muscles so that you can make your escape. And if you experience anxiety for a prolonged period of time, you're going to have a reduced immune response. You're going to be more susceptible to viruses, colds, flus, because your body is going to shut down the immune response. If you're in a life or death situation, there's a tiger chasing you, you don't need to worry about viruses. You need to worry about getting away from the tiger. So the immune response is shut down, and people with anxiety and depression often suffer more colds and flus, more illnesses than other people. So again, everyone experiences anxiety. If you never got anxious, it would mean that there's something wrong with you, that you're ill. Anxiety and depression, scientists are not sure how the two are linked. But people with anxiety generally tend to isolate themselves, which leads to a reduced social circle, leads to a smaller support network, and they generally tend to do work which involves isolation. I see in a lot of groups, people asking what's the best job for someone with anxiety. So people with anxiety are looking to avoid people, to avoid social contact. And this creates a vicious circle whereby they isolate themselves, they reduce their social contact, reduce their support network, and become depressed. People with depression often ruminate. They tend to play things over and over in their minds. They tend to rerun events and experiences in their minds. If they have an argument with someone, they'll replay it again and again and again in their head, thinking of all the different ways that they should have handled it. So rumination is very common. So do you ruminate? Let me know in the chat box. Yep, yep. Yep, absolutely. And yeah, as I said previously, people with complex PTSD very likely to suffer with anxiety and depression. So they're going to be, ruminating on abuse and things that they've suffered in the past and replaying that again and again, reliving those experiences, suffering with flashbacks, and that kind of stuff. So the reticular activating system. So in NLP, there's a theory that we can only be aware of 7 plus or minus 2 things at any one time. If everything that all your senses were picking up was made available to your brain, it would become overloaded. There's about 14,000 different bits of information going on around you at any one time. So you have something called the reticular activating system. This is a walnut-shaped network of neurons located in your brainstem. And the purpose of the reticular activating system is to sort information so you can make decisions quickly. It's going to do this by filtering out anything that isn't relevant to you. And your past experiences have programmed your reticular activating system. So traumatic events are going to program the reticular activating system very quickly. So people who are in the fight or flight response develop tunnel vision. And if you're in that response, everything's going to look like a threat. But it could also be programmed by repetitive stimuli over longer periods of time. So if you are feeling depressed, one exercise you can do to help reprogram this reticular activating system is gratitude journaling, writing down every day 5 or 6 things that you're grateful for. It could be simple things like the sunshine or just simple things that you're grateful for. And by doing that, you'll start to start to notice more and more positive things in your life. So as I said, if we're in a depressed state, our thoughts will be focused on finding things that are wrong, negative things, negative feelings. And whatever you look for, you'll find evidence to reinforce. So, systems theory and cognitive behavioral therapy. So, systems theory says that by changing one part of the system, we can change all parts of the system. So your thoughts create your feelings, which create your behaviors and your physical reactions. Likewise, your behaviors can create feelings, which create thoughts and physical reactions. So by changing one part of that, maybe by changing their behaviors, people who are depressed, they tend to, as I said, people with depression and anxiety, they tend to isolate themselves. They tend to avoid people. So by changing the behavior slightly, maybe going to the library was something that I heard about today, actually. There was a psychiatrist called Milton Erickson, who many people is considered to be the founding father of modern hypnotherapy. And he had depressed clients, and he sent one depressed client to the library, told him to go and be depressed in the library. And when he was in the library, he started looking around and he noticed books that interested him. He started reading about cave potholing or something like that. And it started to interest him. So he ended up joining a club, a potholing club, making new friends. And yeah, just getting out more, finding more things to be grateful for, more things, more positive things. And this helped him to overcome his depression. Milton Erickson also had a lady, a client who was very into growing African violets. So he gave her the task of giving African violets out to everyone at the church. And this increased her social circle, which, you know, again made her very popular, made her feel good about herself, which helped with her depression. Hello, Anmo. So yeah, by changing one part of the system, we can change all parts of the system. Again, when you're anxious and depressed, you'll probably take on a, you know, kind of protective posture. You'll cover your vital organs. It's been shown that just by standing in a Superman pose for 2 minutes every day can release more testosterone, more positive hormones, which can help you feel more positive and confident. So that's some ideas from cognitive behavioral therapy and systems theory that may help you. So neuroplasticity and hypnosis. So using hypnosis, we can start to imagine ourselves the way we want to be. And the emotional part of your brain can't tell the difference between a real and imagined event. So by using hypnosis, we can visualize ourselves the way we want to be. We can visualize the kind of life we want to live, which will build new neural pathways in the brain and allow us to start to associate with ourselves that way. The more we envisage ourselves this way, the stronger these neural pathways will become, and the more we'll start to see those positive things showing up in our lives. Something else we can do, as I said, you know, with rumination, something that you can do is to practice mindfulness and just spend a few minutes every day being in the present moment. So you can do that by sitting down and actively meditating, focusing on your breath, breathing all the way down into your stomach. Notice the air flowing in and flowing out. And don't label your thoughts as good or bad. If any thought comes into your mind, you just label it as thinking. Same, you know, you can practice it when walking. You can practice mindfulness in many different ways. And by doing that, you'll start to, it allows you to be an observer of your thoughts and be an observer of the thoughts that you're having, as opposed to being controlled by those thoughts. Also allows you to connect more with your emotions and feelings. So who here meditates? Let me know in the chat box. Hello, Dave. Excellent. Excellent. And do you find meditation helps with your depression and anxiety? It helps sometimes. Yeah. Yep, focusing on the breath helps you to relax. Yep. Yep, helps massively. Yeah, so by bringing yourself more into the present, you can start to, like you say, you can start to relax, you can start to feel better. And, you know, with anxiety, we're often thinking about things that can go wrong, thinking about what can go wrong, constantly projecting into the future and projecting our past experiences into the future. If we just take the time to relax and focus on the breath, be in the present moment, we start to realize that, you know, in the present moment, there's nothing that can go wrong, really. It's always, nothing's ever as bad as we fear it to be. Who's really feared something, and then when you got to it, you realize, you know, afterwards you thought, what was I worried about? Let me know in the chat box. None of you have experienced that. Okay. You made stories? Yep. Mm-hmm. Okay. Yep, doing something. So doing something that you really fear helps you stop worrying about the things that you were previously worrying about, Dave. Okay. Excellent. Yeah, I believe a lot of people find that, like some people, like skydiving or something, bungee jumping. Okay. So who here has experienced yeah, again, that's something else that we can prescribe to clients. Like if someone's afraid of falling over, we might tell them to go out and fall over on purpose. And once you do it, you realize that it's not actually that bad. Yeah, fear of public. I used to have a fear of public speaking as well. I did some courses which helped me to overcome that. They say that most people fear public speaking more than death. Okay. So, who's experienced hypnosis before? Let me know in the chat box if you've experienced hypnosis before. Yes. No. Yep. No. So the majority of you haven't. So hypnosis is a natural state that we all experience several times during the course of a day. It's not something that's done to you, something that's done with you, that's done with your cooperation. So it's a focused state of attention. If you've ever driven somewhere, got into your destination, not remembered the journey, that would be a state of hypnosis, a state of trance. If you've ever been watching TV, lost track of time, and when the TV program or film or whatever you were watching finished, you realized it was time for bed, that would be a state of hypnosis, state of focused attention. So I'd like to do some exercises to show you the power of your mind, the power of your imagination. So what I'd like you to do first of all is to take your hands like that and push them together really tight, and then take your first two fingers, your index finger and your middle finger. Take a deep breath in, close your eyes and separate your fingers, and just imagine those fingers coming together. Imagine like we've placed two of the world's strongest magnets on those fingers, and they're drawing closer and closer together. Just imagining that happening now. Then when you're ready, you can open your eyes, come back to the present, and let me know in the chat box if those two fingers move closer together. Yes. Yes. Yep. Yep. Excellent. Fabulous. Okay, something else we can do, which is really freaky. Again, take your hands like that, place them closer together, and just notice those hands. Notice that both your hands are the same size. And then relax them. Place them in your lap. Take a deep breath in. Close your eyes. And with your eyes closed, just imagine the fingers on your left hand, just growing a little bit longer. Just imagine that left hand expanding. It's growing just a little bit bigger. Just imagine that happening now. Maybe you can imagine what it would feel like if your left hand were to grow. Then when you're ready, open your eyes and look at your hands, put them back together again. And let me know in the chat box if your left hand grew at all. Yeah. Okay, most of you said yes, one of you said not really. Fabulous. So this is the power of your mind. The power of imagination. So by using imagination, as I say, we can do many things. We can start to excellent. Thank you, Dave. So by using hypnosis, we can start to use our mind to change our life. We can let go of unwanted feelings. We can visualize ourselves the way we want to be. And we can start to become that person. So just take a deep breath in. Make yourselves comfortable. And when you're ready, just allow your eyes to close. With your eyes closed, just continue breathing in and out. Breathing all the way down into your belly. Notice your stomach rising as you're breathing in, falling as you breathe out. See if you can notice yourself relaxing more, in breath, out breath. Maybe you can imagine a tiny voice in the back of your head telling you to just relax, relax, relax. Allowing you to drift deeper, deeper into the positive state of relaxation and trance. A state in which positive change can occur. Just focusing on that. As you drift deeper and deeper, my voice can go with your conscious mind, can drift and dream, unconscious begins to take more and more control. And all of the most powerful things we do at unconscious level. We grow our hair, nails, unconscious. That part of you is always there, always looking to keep you safe. And that part of you can allow you to really change deeply, completely, to become who you want to be, how you want to be, to feel the way you want to feel. Your unconscious is responsible for you changing from a baby to a child, from a child to an adult. So you can really use that part of you to bring positive, lasting changes into your life. Just listening to the sound of my voice. If any thoughts come into your mind, you can just notice them. Imagine them drifting by, floating like clouds across the big blue sky, floating from one side of that sky to the other. I wonder if you can imagine 10 clouds in that sky. And then one cloud disappears and there's 9 clouds. As each cloud disappears, you begin to feel more and more relaxed, more and more at ease. And 8, 7. Maybe you can remember times in the past, times when you felt completely, totally relaxed, experiencing wonderful comfort. And 6, 5, drifting deeper, deeper down. 4, 3, 2, 1. Maybe you can imagine relaxation flowing down your body, all the way down from the top of your head to the very tips of your toes. As you start to enter a state of trance, a place where you can completely relax and let go. You may become aware of You may become aware of the tiny muscles in arms and legs just twitching slightly. You release any tension, any stresses, strain. And up in that big blue sky, I wonder if you can imagine another cloud floating. This cloud is different. You can feel a connection to this. Just noticing it floating across the sky, stopping right above it. Maybe you can get a sense of threads connect you to that cloud. That cloud can start to absorb more and more of those old feelings, more and more feelings that you may not want, things that may have been troubling you can just begin to be absorbed by that cloud. That cloud's taking on more and more of those old problems. Release. Maybe you can get a sense of that release in your body. Maybe you can get a twitch of a finger or thumb. Allows you to know more and more of those old feelings, old problems, things that may have been worrying you, just drifting up into that. Maybe you can notice that cloud getting darker, angrier. It takes up more and more. Anything you're ready, wanting to let go, to release. Allowing that to happen. And that cloud can begin to move away. Maybe you can imagine those threads, those connections to that cloud beginning to loosen, to break, tear, as that cloud just moves away, taking with it anything that you release, drifting off over the horizon, releasing any of this old problems, feelings, releasing them into the sea. The sea can dilute those issues, worry. The sea can wear down shell, stone, turn them into beautiful sand. I wonder if you can get a sense of yourself just drifting up out of your body, drifting off into the future, drifting into time in the future where you're feeling happier, feeling more confident, more positive, feeling good in every way. I wonder if you can imagine how your life could change. What will you be doing differently? What will you have? Where will you be? Who will you be with? Just take a moment to experience that. See through that future version of you's eyes. Feel what you feel. Notice what you notice. Notice how good you can feel. Within a moment, I'm going to count from 1 to 5. When I reach the number 5, you can come back to the present, noticing how good you feel, bringing with you some of those positive feelings, future memories. So begin counting. 1. Maybe you can imagine calm, relaxing energy flowing up your legs. Maybe you like to wiggle your toes. 2, as that energy flows up your body. 3, down your arms into your hands. Maybe you'd like to wiggle your fingers. 4, and on the next number you can open your eyes, noticing how good you feel. 5, eyes open, wide awake. And if you enjoyed that, let me know in the chat box. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Okay. Okay, so going back to the presentation. Mindfulness. So mindfulness has been shown to reduce stress, reduce anxiety and depression. It can help you to increase your focus, improve your ability to concentrate. Yep. With modern social media and phones, our attention's constantly being bombarded with information, and this causes us to lose our focus, to lose that focus. So by practicing mindfulness, you can start to take back that focus. You can start to be able to focus more on the present moment and feel more in the moment. It can allow you to better regulate your emotions, to consider your reactions to things. People who practice mindfulness have been shown to have more empathy and understanding. It can lead to better health, reduced heart disease, lower pain, and blood pressure. So I'd really recommend that you, if you're not currently meditating, that you take some time each day to meditate, meditate or listen to some hypnosis and get more into the present moment. So that's the end of the presentation. Thank you. Does anyone have any questions? Anything you'd like to say? Let me know in the chat box. No one? No one has anything? Okay, well, thank you, everyone. Thank you, Mike. Have you all enjoyed the presentation? Let me know if you've enjoyed it and found it useful. Thank you, Victor. Thank you, Daniel. Thank you. You can meditate however you feel comfortable. It's just good to meditate. It's best if you sit. And if you are going to lie down, don't do it on the bed or somewhere where you tend to sleep, because you may just fall asleep. Thank you, Jason. So I offer everyone that comes to my workshops a free coaching or therapy session. So if you'd like to take advantage of that, you can book a time via the link I just posted in the chat box. And if you could take a moment to like my page on Facebook. If you feel like you'd like to leave a review, please do so. Someone who I've never spoken to left a review calling me a COVID denier, which wasn't very nice. So yeah, if you'd like to leave a review, I'd be very much appreciative of that. Does anyone have any other questions? No one? Okay. Okay, well, thank you very much, everyone. Thank you for joining me tonight. And yeah, I will be scheduling some more workshops. I think the next workshop is going to be probably focused around the inner child. So keep a lookout for that. And I hope to see you all again soon. Thank you and good night.